Hello and welcome to the Garden of Odin. I want to talk today about making dog food. So first, you need to know how much your dog weighs. Second of all, you need to figure out how many calories your dog needs based on your dog's activity status and whether your dog is intact or not. And then your dog's age is something to consider too. And then you need to put your ingredients together, calculate the total amount of ingredients, and then put those into the jars, divide it, etc. It's just a little math. Anyway, when you can, the way that I make my dog food is I mix it all together. I use ground venison, and I mix it all together with the other ingredients. And so you only want to fill your jar to about here at the most. And even then, you're going to have some oil coming out and getting into the canner, but your jars will still seal. So leave plenty of shoulder space. And then the other thing is probably more convenient to do quarts, except that I just used up the last quart jars that I have. And here you can see this is what I just took out of the canner. It's still bubbling. And it looks like dog food, canned dog food, because that's essentially what it is. But it's mixed together and it looks kind of like meatloaf, so I call it doggy meatloaf. Anyway, a quart, and I left the shoulder, I filled it to about here and it expanded some. So I could have left these a little, I didn't have to fill these quite so much even. Louie will eat at least one of those a day and probably a little bit more. It's probably 25% of the volume is water. Actually more than that, right? Because there's water in the vegetables, there's water in the meat. But I added volume. I added almost 25% volume of just water as I mix it together. And then you still get kind of the paste. So this is going to go into the canner. And there's, so this is how much shoulder space I leave, and it expands up to here. I have carrots and butternut squash, rice, some bread, some powdered milk, and a jar, I think, of tomato sauce, and then venison. So, and this was a little left over. You can see some water sitting there. So it doesn't look real appetizing, but he sure loves it. And frankly, it would be edible if a person wanted to eat it too. I haven't tried it, and I don't want to. Anyway, like I said, since we've kind of got this shut down because of the virus, and we're told to shelter in place. We can't really go out to movies and to restaurants and gather with friends. So we're going to shelter in place, but think of it more as shelter in peace. Let me start putting this together and then show you this. Actually, let me show you, I have some tomato juice that I didn't date on the top. I don't think it's from last year, it might be from the year before. It's sealed, it's fine. I'm going to add that to this round. I also have some dilly beans from 2 years ago, from 2018, and I actually don't like dilly beans, so I'm not going to add the vinegar to the mix, but I'm going to pour these out, cut them up, and add them in the mix. And then I'm going to grate up some carrots. I'm going to use some ground venison, and then I'm also, for protein, in this mix, I have a lot of beans because I raised them in my garden, so I put them in water and boiled it for a while. Of course, they're not cooked yet, but they're fully expanded, and I can add this water. I don't know if you can see it. I can add that water in there too as part of the water because that's got nutrients in it as well. So let me start putting this together, show you a few steps as I go along. Okay, I'm going to chop up my dilly beans. I didn't realize they were quite as spicy as I made them, but they'll still be fine. The other thing is they've kind of got a nice crunch. I chomped on a few of them. I like them better than when I made them. It's like the flavor came together really nicely, but still. Louie's going to get the nutrition benefit of this. There's a whole peppercorn. So I took out the garlic, the pieces of garlic, and also had dill fronds in there. I took those out. So And I thought it would just blend together better. Chop it up a little bit. Now everything's going to go into the pot that I just have in the sink, because that's an easy level to work at and to stir at. I already have 2 jars of tomato sauce in there, and I have the beans that I hydrated on the stove with hot water. And now I have green beans, and now I'm going to grate up some carrots and put them in here. And then I'm going to add some breadcrumbs, and that'll probably be about it. And then the meat. So this isn't going to be as big of a batch. Let me add a few more things, and then I'll turn it back on and show you. Okay, so now I have a pound of carrots that I chopped up in there. I put a pound or a cup of oatmeal. I put a cup of vegetable oil. Let's stir this up some more, and I'll add some more water as well. And then I'm getting ready to put in 2 pounds of ground venison, and I actually think that it has pork in it too. It looks like it has pork in it, but I haven't cooked it to taste it. Okay, now I'm going to mix this up. I'm going to move the camera out of the way. I'm going to mix this up, and I'm going to show you what the consistency looks like when it's done. Here it is. This is about the consistency that I think is alright. If it was any more dense, technically you shouldn't can things that are this dense. So that's why I add a lot of water, or according to the FDA. But I've been doing this for over a month now, and I haven't had any of my jars come in. All the jars are sealed, and they've stayed sealed. So, of course, he consumes this fairly quickly, so none of them have sat for very long. But if you were worried, I suppose you could keep it in the refrigerator after you canned it. But this is about the consistency. Now I'm going to go ahead and put this into the jars, and then you can see again how I leave the head, how much headspace I leave. Okay, so see how much headspace? Do not crowd these at all. And I could even go with a little bit less maybe, but this is why it's not that efficient to do these in pint jars versus quart jars, unless you have a little tiny dog, and then of course it would make sense. But you just a lot more efficient if you can do a larger volume. So I'll tighten all these up in just a little bit. I'm gonna get another lid, and then we'll do the calculation on this batch to see how many calories per serving. I guess you'd call this a serving. Alright, let me conclude this now. So, now I have a few that still need to go in the next load of the canner. This is steaming, and I realized I forgot to put vinegar into the water, but it's not really going to affect anything because a little bit of oil comes out. I can always clean the jars, and then this is the batch I already did today. So, summary of a few things. A quart is more efficient than a pint. Make sure to leave plenty of shoulder space because it does expand. You will push a little bit of oil out, and it'll be in your can or water. And then I did a calculation. I got a total of 12 servings out of there, and I had 2 pounds of venison, a cup of vegetable oil. I don't know if my numbers are exactly correct, but it came down to about 8,500 calories divided by 12. I had 1 quart, but so I'm counting that as 2. So about 708 calories per pint. And again, I forgot, actually, I'd have to look up, but I think that Louis, being about 50 pounds, is about 1,100 calories or 1,200 calories a day. But I know that he eats more than 2 jars, so I'm not sure if my math is off. He doesn't gain weight when he eats it. I can tell he feels good. And so, if you have a dog that has some health problems, you might want to try this, or if you just don't like buying prepared dog food because you don't know what's in there. So, thank you for watching this episode of The Garden of Odin. And remember, let's not just shelter in place, let's shelter in peace.